Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Center for Religious Science. I want to start today with a poem that many of you love. Some of you have never heard. I think I do it about every 4 months. And I want to thank you, Kat. I was listening in the kitchen to your wonderful, was it a meditation, right? Declaration. Was she doing the declaration? Was she going to declare the same thing I'm going to declare? We will see. Was it of principles, Celia?
No, it was the affirmation.
Okay. Okay. All right. Otherwise, I was going to have to Otherwise, I was going to have to pivot to another thing. Let's start with James Dillard Freeman's timeless piece entitled "I Am There." This piece, you all know, maybe you don't know, was taken with him, and it's on the moon, if you can believe it, in some form, probably microfilm or something. And it starts with the question, do you need me? I am there. You cannot see me, yet I am the light you see by. You cannot hear me, yet I speak through your voice. You cannot feel me, yet I am the power at work in your hands. I am at work, though you do not understand my works, my ways. I am at work, though you don't recognize my works. I'm not strange visions. I'm not mysteries. Only in the absolute stillness beyond self can you know me as I am. And then you can only know me as a feeling and a faith. Yet I am there, yet I hear, yet I answer. When you need me, I am there. Even if you deny me, I am there. Even when you feel most alone, I am there. Even in your fears, I am there. Even in your pain, I am there. I'm there when you pray, and I'm there when you do not pray. I am in you, and you are in me. Only in your mind can you feel separate from me, for only in your mind are the mist of yours and mine. Yet only in your mind can you know me and experience me. Empty your heart of empty fears. When you get yourself out of the way, I am there. You can of yourself do nothing, but I can do all, and I am in all. Though you may not see the good, good is there, for I am there. I am there because I have to be, because I am. Only in me does the world have meaning. Only out of me does the world take form. Only because of me does the world go forward. I am the law on which the movement of the stars and the growth of the living cells are founded. I am the love that is the law's fulfilling. I am assurance. I am peace. I am oneness. I am the law that you can live by. I am the love that you can cling to. I am your assurance. I am your peace. I am one with you. I am. Though you fail to find me, I do not fail you. Though your faith in me is unsure, my faith in you never wavers, because I know you, because I love you. Beloved, I am there. And so it is. I like that one. I'm sure most of you do too. That's been one of my favorites for, I'm always saying 20 or 30 years. It's probably much longer. It's one that's good to have in your collection of readings. Ernest Holmes, the reason I was asking all the questions about affirmations and declarations is Ernest Holmes wrote a piece called The Declaration of Principles, which, like the piece I read to you just a moment ago, is very good for us to hear occasionally. I try to introduce that about every 3 or 4 months also, because people are tuning in from all over the country, sometimes the world, and they don't even know how they found us, because they linked on a Louise link. They gave the phone number and email, and the questions will come in on social media. What is this? What do you teach? And and we get all kinds of questions. And thank you for the questions. And then some of you have some confusion, and you call in and speak to Jimmy, who sometimes, he resolves a lot of questions, and if not, they come to me, and then I try to as well. This piece, Declaration of Principles, will answer many of the questions, so I think it's good to do it occasionally. It starts out, these are Ernest Holmes' words, that we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. We believe in that. We believe this one energy manifests itself in and through all creation, but it's not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe, everything you can imagine, is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the incarnation of Spirit, and we believe this incarnation is in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of this one Spirit. Further, we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe that the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is the one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of the individual, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with this indwelling Spirit, this indwelling God. We believe that the universal Spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by it. We're surrounded by the creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the healing and the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to everyone. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God, and so it is. Okay. I think I have 3 talks up here today. It's going to be very interesting to see which one we do. And no Kleenexes. Okay. Well, I'm going to welcome you 2 or 3 times, it looks like. I was traveling this weekend, and I received our lessons in part, and I was working on them throughout the weekend. And I thought, I've got like 3 different lessons to give on Sunday, so the perfect one always becomes, is delivered. Thank you, Jimmy. So welcome again. It's a joy to see, all the people here. Last week there was something like 120 people. I don't know how many are on today, but our attendance is growing. Our presence on Facebook and YouTube is growing. Sometimes we're having a tough time getting back to everybody, but we do each week. Many of you are wanting my notes to the Thursday classes, which is interesting. If you saw them, they're like volumes, and I think we're going to condense them and give people copies who want copies. So it's wonderful to see you all here. Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you really are, who you truly are. You know, that makes sense. Who are you? What do we teach that you are every week? Celia will give me the answer. What do we teach you are every week?
I'm sorry.
What do we teach that you are every week?
Spirit.
Spirit, she says, right? And?
One with everything.
One with everything. She's got it. And that we are individualizations of this one life, right?
Right. That's true.
So the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you really are. To wake up and realize how great thou art. A lot of people live their lives and have been taught to live their lives like they don't matter. You know, you've heard Marianne Williamson and other people talk about, you know, why are we living our lives in such a small way? Because we were created to be something magnificent. And I remember reading when I was younger, you know, the time where the light went out. And, you know, I don't remember what books they were at this point, but it's during our entrainment, because you come into life, Louise Hay would say this ball of energy and delight and wonder, child of wonder, right? And somewhere along the way, you know, the expression is the lights get dimmed, the lights go out. They don't entirely go out, but we start to learn all the rules of the game, and we're parented and we're socialized, we're entrained, and that greatness, it's still there, but it doesn't shine as brightly over time. So the journey back always, you know, in terms of spiritual terms, is to become who you really are. Louise Hay would say, as a child, you have a greater knowledge of it when you first come into the world. And she said your needs are met even when you're a little baby. You know, when you're laughing, the world is there with you and laughing with you, and you're crying, you know, you get all kinds of attention. But, you know, as we get older, we forget that. So always our teaching is about learning to love ourselves more, learning to become more aware of who and what we are. The pathway to self-understanding is part of the lesson today. Each week we embark on this wonderful journey of self-discovery. Beyond the roles we play, beyond the names we're called, there is this radiant, true self within each and every one of us, and it's like a treasure waiting to be discovered. Bill Cameron, who was one of my first teachers at Unity years ago, I thought he was one of the best. I thought he knew the most of people who first initiated me into this teaching. Said, this thing that we have within us is the best kept secret in the world. He said, that God in you. And he said, the hope of your glory. He said, people have gone throughout history searching for it. The Holy Grail, they've searched hard, high, far and wide. They've searched, and they've fought, and they've done everything. And he said, you've always had it within you. The best kept secret of the ages is that spirit within you, which he used to say, the hope of your glory. So what all these people who were teaching me over the years were attempting to get me to see is everything I need, everything I could ever want, already exists where? Yeah. And then I encountered another spiritual discipline, I'll say 20 years later. Here I am with the years and decades again. But they said, it's a journey without a distance to a place you've probably never been, or you haven't been often. Deep within the center of your being, Louise would say, is an infinite well of what? Love. You have everything. You are the whole bit, as Barker says. So Rumi will say the most important journey you can take is the journey within. If your focus is on the outer stuff, you're just kind of like that's not where where reality lives. I can go down to Times Square and I can see these enormous, what do you call them? They're not billboards, electronic signs and stuff. And, they will suggest that I need to look this way and have this thing and have that, and it's just all lit up like Times Square. It's just like unbelievable. And beyond that, we can get all focused on the things in our lives that we think we want and we think we need. And a lot of these things that people chase, I know when I was younger, I had this thing about cars. I've had so many cars. I can't even count the cars. I have more cars than I have years, I think. And I don't know what it was. I just liked them. But the thing about it, whenever I had some beautiful car, and there were probably 50 or 60 of them or something, so I didn't really have as many as I am old, but they don't satisfy. You might recall a candy bar called Snickers. There was a slogan associated with Snickers. Do you remember it? Snickers satisfies you. Well, there's nothing outside of you that really ultimately is going to bring the satisfaction that you want. It's not found outside of you. You might think, when I get this job, or I get this girlfriend or boyfriend, or when I attain this new thing, some people call it a shiny object. When I obtain it, when I have it, then I'm going to feel what? Satisfied. I'm satisfied for probably, I don't know, a couple days. I'll get the new car. I like the smell. I drive around. Everybody will see it. And 2 weeks later, I've got a big car payment, and I think, oh my goodness, here we are again. I don't know if you're like that, but, and I don't know, I think we reach a point in our lives where we realize that the external things aren't really fulfilling us. Just like Snickers, which is supposed to satisfy us. It doesn't really in the long run. The most important journey you can take is the journey within, says Rumi. I don't know about anybody else, but somewhere in my life there was this inner knowing that this is where all the action was. Maybe it was with Louise Hay when she said, deep within the center of our being, there's this infinite well of love. I started to have what I would call spiritual experiences probably in my late 20s, early 30s. And can't define them, can't explain them, wouldn't even try to. But I will tell you, it started through journaling and meditation. I remember sitting in a beach in Massachusetts where I was contemplating that piece, that poem, to see heaven in a wildflower and eternity in a grain of sand. And I was journaling on that idea, or that phrase, and next thing I knew, I was in and out of this energetic experience that I can't describe. Our thoughts have the ability to bring forth experience. The universe within you is always, as Emerson would say, wooing you. All of life is conspiring to bring you forward to greater experience. My other favorite teacher was Dr. Bill, who used to say to us, there is that which is within you that always knows. There is this thing inside of you that knows. And when you're messing up, you know you're messing up. Nobody needs to punish you, I don't think, do they? I think it was Emerson who said we punish ourselves. Because when we mess up, we know that we're messing up. So it's not like we need any external, guy up there slapping our hands or anything like that. And that's a good thing. When we're messing up and we know we're messing up, that's what Alan Cohen defines sin. Alan Cohen said sin is self-imposed nonsense. When you're missing the mark, nobody has to tell you. So what is this teaching about? Well, this teaching is about when you're missing the mark, you do something about it. Why? Because you're an intelligent being. You understand as you come into this teaching that all of life is responding to you. So if you're coming into a teaching like this, it would suggest that a lot of the stuff that you've learned as kids, you realize it doesn't work for you anymore. I was raised in a Catholic family. I'm not here to put that religion down. But, the whole basis of it was there was two things going on. There's good and there's evil. And those religions are what we call in New Thought, they're based upon duality, which would suggest there's a power for good in the universe, God, and then there is something else. And the whole notion with that type of belief system, which would comprise many of the religions of the world today, is that you've got to somehow become good. And that belief system would suggest that there is evil. And, there's devils and there's evil powers and things like that. When you come into religious science, we teach you something else. When Ernest Holmes says there is one power, one energy, he means that there's one power and that there's one energy in operation in the world. So the churches of mankind or humankind, I want to keep it, I don't need to go towards gender. The churches of the world are made by people. We're made by people. The church in Rome was pretty much put together in the 4th and 5th century. In the 5th century, it decided women were human. In the 5th century, a lot of things it decided. Okay? Much of the scriptures that were written in the early years were written by people who didn't even know the people they were writing about. And many people will go to those scriptures and say this is the word of God and all of that. And it's okay. I read the scriptures. I was taught early on to take the good. We take our good wherever we find it. But when you come into religious science, you come into a deeper understanding. You come into an understanding that there's not good and evil. You come into an understanding that you live, move, and you have your being in divine substance. You live, move, and have your being in God only. We come into understanding that it's all God. We will come into the understanding that God is all that there is. Well, that presents problems for some people who want to just be talking about what's wrong, what's missing, and what's wrong with people, and who's bad and who's evil and all that. See, we don't even have language for that, because what we understand here is each and every one of us are individualizations of this God life. That means everybody. That means there's not a spot where God is not. That means we're talking about a presence that's never an absence. Think about that. Lady V, you're here. There's a presence. There's never an absence of it. So what about all those people we think are so terrible and that we want to say are awful and evil and they should be condemned and, God is there, she said. God is there. What about in the person who's really done that awful stuff that you think should burn in hell? What about him or her? God is there too, she said. That's Lady V. God is there. Well, that's a real religious scientist because he or she knows the truth. Now, listen, they might not be acting too smart. I will be the first to say. Their point in their evolutionary journey, they might be in a place where you don't want to hang out with them, right? Emerson used to talk, it was a funny piece in one of his essays. When somebody's there singing their virtues and talking about all their virtues, Emerson said, you better start counting your spoons. Because he said, they're talking about how good they are and all that, you better be over there counting your silver. So what he was getting at, everyone is perfect. Everyone's unfolding. Everyone's in the divine right place, unfolding perfectly. And that's the truth. Think of yourself going back 10 years, 5 years, 20 years. And think of what you were up to, what you did, what you were doing. And think of yourself now where you wouldn't dream of doing any of that stuff anymore. We come into this world, we all say we're civilized and we're refined and all that stuff. But, even though this world is like filled with technology and the knowledge curve is like doubling, as we say, every few days, in many ways people are still somewhat primitive. The world at large that we talk about and the masses that we talk about react in a somewhat primitive way. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. You get me, I'm going to get you. It's action and reaction. It's a lot of that stuff. And it's where we are in a place in time. There's always been people who have understood our teaching. You've heard me say that before. Someone like Ralph Waldo Emerson really understood the science of mind. His mind was amazing. Anybody would benefit by reading him. Reading him is not easy, but it's breathtaking to have the experience. And they used to say a few from every age will discover Ralph Waldo Emerson. And what they meant by that is a few from every age will understand what he actually was talking about and teaching. And that is true for us. It isn't about understanding Emerson, it's about understanding what he taught. You can look up any and all of his quotes, and they'll all be breathtaking, and they're going to say the whole thing is within you. You are the whole bit. You have it all. You always have had it all. And you come into a place like this, and some people want to run because you don't want to take responsibility, some of you, for your life. Louise Hay would say, we're each 100% responsible for everything that's happened. Boy, people don't like hearing that. I can think of two people. One of them is my sister, and another was a client I had. And they would say, Greg, I have no responsibility for this. I just simply refuse to think I had anything to do with it. What do you say when somebody says that to you? As a minister, I kept working with them. And I would try to say, well, here's the thing. Misery's optional. That came from a 12-step program. Where Ernest Holmes would say, suffering is not God ordained. You're here to be happy. You're here to be joyous. And you're here to be free. That's what we're here to do. We're here to be happy, joyous, and free, and to express life. We're in the express business. And we have the tools here. We teach you the tools. How to be happy, joyous, and free. We teach you how to surrender. We teach you how to trade in the lesser ideas that you harbor, you hold. For what? For the more expansive, for the greater, for the truth. Each and every one of us are individualizations of God life. As big as you can dream, as big as you can vision, and with conviction about those dreams and those visions, you can walk right into a world that you'd never dreamed possible. A world of your imagination, as the song goes. You know, it's there. There's absolutely nothing holding anybody back except themselves. So there's this inner thing, inner voice. Again, I'm referring back to Dr. Bill, who said, there is that which is within each and every one of us that knows. So please never say to yourself or anyone else, I don't know what to do, because that's not true. If you ask, if you go to that place, there is that which is within you that always knows and guides and will answer you. So you got this. You have the power. I have another little piece here. You can think, if you want to think of how you are within the scheme of things, there's an invitation to imagine the image of a vast ocean. And think of yourself as an individual drop of this ocean. But realize that deep down you're made of the same essence of this magnificent sea. Rumi again said, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. And that could be reassuring to know that we're all connected in this vast cosmic dance. Each week we come together here at the center, and we're here, all of us who are part of our production, our lessons, we're here to remind you of your inner brilliance. I do my thing, Jimmy does his thing, Lady V does her things. We're all here to remind you of, and Lady V, the joy of being, the magnificence of who we are. Jimmy will give you all kinds of quotes. He tends to go to some of the scriptures. But we're all doing the same thing. We're here to remind you of your inner brilliance and the connection you have with Source. No matter how we feel on certain days, no matter what has happened during the day, the week, what we've lost, no matter what's happened in any way, we all have an inner light that's waiting to shine bright. We are stardust. You remember that? I think that comes from Woodstock. We are stardust. We are meant to shine. What was Woodstock? We want to get back to the garden, right? The garden is the place where, we live in a greater sense of connection and bliss. Some of you connect with this. Some of you, do meditation and prayer, and you have a sense of this inner presence. My next little section here is talking about the dichotomy of truth and perception, okay? Life's a funny thing, right? There's what we see and feel immediately, and then there's a deeper truth. Sometimes it's hidden beneath our layers of beliefs. I think I mentioned this before. When I was younger, this is another Blake quote. I like this. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to us as it is, infinite. So what did he mean by the doors of perception? Well, I think he was trying to say is we make so much of our life up, okay? Once I've seen you, once I've known you, I've encountered you, I have a belief about you, okay? I have history with you, whoever you are. And I'm not trying to have history. I'm not trying it to be negative. But once I know you, I have a story of some kind. And most of the time it's pleasant, so I'm happy to see you the next time, right? Sometimes it's not so pleasant. And then I have this story. And then we live our lives, and we've interacted with some people for a lot of years. And we have this whole history, his story, history about this person. It's one of the most challenging things in the world to be in a new moment with people that you have a history with. It's really hard for me to see you in a new way if I've interacted with you for a long time and I have all these experiences. And people in relationships, I've learned this the hard way in therapy, but I know how it works. If we're in relationships with people for any period of time, there's this whole body of information we have. And I've had some really gifted teachers, one and a really super spiritual counselor, and I've shared this in different groups, and I hope some of you use it because it's really helpful. She would always ask, well, what are you creating this person to be right now? And see, I'd want to talk about what they're doing, or what they're doing to me, or how they're acting. And really the far more interesting question and useful question is, what are you creating them to be? Because I will have carried every single thing that they've said or done that I dislike, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now that doesn't mean I'm very smart when I'm doing that. I had a teacher, Bill Tolliver, who used to say to us in classes, he would never say it in a Sunday service, he would say, don't die dumb. And, well, he also put it on a marquee of his church. This is a teaching that is about enlightenment. And we don't want to be hanging on to the hurts. We don't want to be hanging on to the grudges. We don't want to be hanging on to the resentments, do we? I mean, where will they take us? So going back to William Blake, if the doors of your perception were cleansed, if you could clear all that crap away, what would life look like? You would start to see the loveliness and the beauty, because really that's all that there is. So what's the job of a practitioner? What's the job of a person who's really engaged in this teaching? Is to see the God and to see the good. I could see peace instead of any of this stuff. I could see God instead of any of this stuff. I really could. And I want to personally. I don't know about anyone else on the call. That's my goal. My sister tells me I forgive everybody too fast. And I say, what the hell? What's the point of hanging on to the nonsense? I have 2 members of my family currently who have a grudge that they've had since 2011. And they want me to join in. Are you kidding me? Tell me what the good is with that. Well, why would you forgive her? She did this. I said, this is always over money, of course. I said, listen, they do the best they can. I said, we're all in good shape, so what the hell? You want to stay mad? I mean, I don't know how old the rest of you are. I know how old I am. And, I know statistically I'm supposed to be here for so long, and I do not need to be doing what? Harboring a bunch of stuff. So we want to learn to release. We want to learn to let go. We know that we're supplied and supported anyway, so people can't really take things away from us, because if something goes here, it comes in here. If you really believe you're supplied and supported, then you don't cling to everything in such a way. So if the doors of perception are cleansed, everything would appear as it is, which is beautiful and infinite. The kingdom is at hand. It always has been. You've heard that said from every religion I've ever known. We're always looking for something down the road, and everything you really want is right here within you. So David Walker, one of the past presidents of religious science, would suggest always that we need to open up and create avenues in mind. What does that mean? Well, he's saying within yourself you want to create the opening. So if the kingdom of God is at hand and I'm not experiencing anything, then I must be doing something what? I hate to say wrong, but if the kingdom of God is at hand and I'm not experiencing the bounty, the joy, all the good, then it's about me. It's not about them. It's always about who? Yeah, you are the solution. You are the Alpha and the Omega. You are the whole bit. You are the whole thing. You have the power to move mountains. You have the power to heal your life. You have the power to do anything and everything that's good. We have moments where we have tremendous clarity. We have these epiphanies. In my case, I have these energetic experiences. I go, oh my goodness, I have to get my act together. That's happened a few times in my life. Well, you feel like you're off in the weeds, and then it's kind of like the prodigal child. You're out there, you feel cut off from everything. You start coming back to the truth and thinking about the truth, meditating about the truth, and then you have these I'll call them epiphanies. It's not like Paul on the road to Damascus with blinding light, but it's similar, where you just think, oh my goodness. And we get back on track. How many of you have had moments like that, where you just had a moment of great clarity, where you're informed and you decide, look, starting now, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do it differently today. The best thing anybody I know I can suggest, if you're new, because you can't just get everything that we got, like some of us have been studying this for decades. If you get engaged, for example, in the Thursday night call, the Thursday night call is more than just a Louise Hay group, as people say, because they're designed, these classes, to take you to a deeper place. Louise Hay, of course, is someone when I say adore, I don't mean adore like, God above, but she really had a gift in terms of presenting our teaching in a way that could reach just about everybody. On Thursday, though, we always take it to a little deeper place than Louise ever did. We don't go too deep, because my goal here for Thursday is to get everybody into the conversation. And you keep coming back. And you're going to be amazed before you're halfway through of how sweet life is, how good life is, and you'll begin to understand that you have tremendous power to change your life and to be very successful, prosperous. You can heal dis-ease, or certainly improve dis-ease, and you'll make great improvements. Just by tuning in, just by listening, just by considering. And the more you tune in, you'll be inclined to begin to want to trade in the lesser ideas that you harbor and hold on to for the greater. Because you're evolving in freedom. I would suggest, if you're tuned into these classes for any length of time, there's something in your soul that's wanting to express, wanting to unfold, wanting to move forward. Or else, why would you be here? Because we're going to annoy you. We're going to annoy you because we're going to say, why are you doing this to you? See, if you want to go to another kind of religion, you can go and, you can talk about who's bad and who's wrong, and, you can pray for forgiveness, and you can be absolved of your sins and all of that. But we don't do any of that here. We don't have any dogma. We just teach you the truth. That deep within you, the center of your being, there's an infinite well of love that you're connected to, and there's a power that responds to you. From Carl Jung, as we started, the privilege of our lifetime is to become who we truly are, and to awaken to that magnificence and realize our teaching you can approach our teaching in the beginning in a superficial way, like people who study the law of attraction. Nothing wrong with that. But when you get involved in the teaching in a deeper way, it brings you towards mysticism. And mysticism is where you're going to have an awareness that you move in God, you live in God, and you are God, and that every encounter is in fact a holy one. And then, you may decide you actually want to become a practitioner, licensed or not, doesn't matter. A practitioner is one who practices, who really has a sense that, wherever they go, whatever street they walk down, and every face they encounter, and everything they see is God activity. That's a high calling, and when you're living that way, you're healing your life and you're healing the world. It's up to you, how much work you want to do. Many of you are just coming in because you want to heal your life and improve your life, and that will happen. Again, a journey without a distance. It's all within you. You have every tool. What we're good at is reminding you of how great you are, and we're good at reminding you of the power that you possess to heal your life and change your life. Albert Einstein wrote, "The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. Your life is a mirror. Your outer experiences." Don't ever talk about your outer experiences as though there's something that's happening to you. Our outer experiences are a mirror of our inner state. If things seem stormy and bumpy, the expression is perhaps we need to adjust our inner sails. Again, Einstein said the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. And Barker, Raymond Charles, said, yesterday ended last night. So it's never too late to start your day over. That's something I learned from the 12-step programs 40 years ago. And if you could just have had a rotten day right up to like 9 o'clock at night and just tell yourself, once you wake up, come out of the fog or you come to, just say, okay, I'm starting over, 9 o'clock. I'm going to take a shower, I'm going to take a walk, I'm just going to start over right now. Don't take that crap to bed with you. Start wherever, as soon as you come to, as you wake up, start then. Okay. A couple other notes I'll share with you. I used to live in Florida. You've heard people say, don't let people rent space in your head, right? In Florida, they say, don't let them build condominiums. Okay? The power and the promise of transformation. All that really is talking about is each of us have this divine spark. Each of us are an individualization of it. And with it, you have the ability to rise anew. You just need to have the willingness. I was taught then, too, this was 43 years ago, willingness is the key that opens every door. Please, if you're going to pray for something, pray for willingness. Pray for the willingness to be in a new moment. Pray for the willingness to let go of the story you have about anybody. If you're carrying around a bunch of garbage, baggage, old ideas, resentments, I promise you it's only hurting you. You all have heard the story of the phoenix, I'm sure, the bird that comes out of the ashes. And here's a quote, "And just as the phoenix rose from its ashes, you too will rise, returning from the flames, clothed in nothing but strength, more beautiful than ever before." You're here to rise. How many of you here are longing for more? That would be me, just about every, right? Well, you can have it. You have the power to have it. You can do it furthermore. That was one of Louise Hay's last tours, her You Can Do It tour. I think it was I Can Do It. Who here feels ready for the next great thing in your life, the next great awareness? Who's ready for transformation? Who's ready for that next chapter in their life? I am. I hope all of you are. I'm going to end with a couple quotes that I think tie into what I was putting together for today. Ernest Holmes, I have Barker. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking and change your life. You know that one, everyone. Next was, life is a mirror and it will reflect back to the thinker what he or she thinks into it. He then said, we're not surrounded by some fatalistic presence, but we're immersed in infinite creative spirit, which molds everything to the desires of the thinker. So you're surrounded by an infinite creative spirit, which molds everything to your desires. Next, the spirit within me is God. I cannot be without God. God cannot be without me. That's such a powerful one. I like that one. I'll say it again. The spirit within me is God. I cannot be without God. God cannot be without me. I like that one the best so far. And Raymond Charles Barker, our founder here in New York. The human individual is equipped to create. His or her is the same in the same consciousness as the consciousness, as mind. Next, if your every human plan and method has failed, he said it's time to pray to surrender to the universe's will for your life. One more by Barker. You are to be active and creative in your own life, for these are the attributes of the source. And then I'm going to go to Louise Hay and close with her. Louise said, love is the great miracle cure. Loving yourself, really loving yourself, works miracles in our life. Only then can you extend that love to others. When you develop some self-realization, you know I am one with the one, I love myself, I accept myself, I approve of myself. When I really have that down, then I can extend that to other people. And she followed up by saying, you have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that. We think so often that we're helpless, but we're far from helpless. We have all the power in the world, we're the whole bit. We always have the power. Claim your power and consciously use your power. And behold, you will experience great things. So that's it for this morning, everybody. Thank you very much.